Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50-plus years. So let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I am a director on the board of the Alumni Association at Nassau Community College and a proud graduate. I am here to celebrate the successes of our alum, and together we will share stories that will uplift, inspire, and often amuse you. Each week, I will introduce you to the alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experiences while attending the college and the secrets to their success. Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages and share any exciting news with us on Facebook, Instagram, or on our webpage at ncc.edu/alumni, or find me on X at Dr. Lynnda Nadien. The lion is the mascot for Nassau Community College. The lion is associated with balancing power, intention, physical strength, and grace. Our alum possess these same characteristics and symbolize courage, nobility, royalty, strength, stateliness, and valor. Lions are a symbol of royalty, and all of our alum contribute to the beauty of our college society. Together, we are Lion Tales. Today, I would like to welcome to Lion Tales Daniella Ferraro, class of 2022. Daniella received her associate's degree from Nassau Community College in Language Arts, and she is currently pursuing her bachelor's degree in childhood education at SUNY Old Westbury. Her hobbies include photography, and she believes her experiences at Nassau Community College enabled her to become independent and hardworking. A photography professor at Nassau Community College inspired her to showcase her photos in an art show and encouraged her to pursue her passions. Welcome to Lion Tales, Daniella Ferraro, class of 2022.
Hi.
Hi. So what were your intentions upon high school graduation before you came to Nassau?
I knew I always wanted to go to college, and I knew that I wanted to be local. I never really had, the urge to go away for college.
Yes.
And my mom also went to Nassau.
Okay, great. Oh, so she can probably be a guest on the show, too.
Yes, probably.
Yeah. So you sort of had like a framework for Nassau, because if your mom was a student, then that means you kind of knew a little bit. So what were your interests at the time coming out of the high school and then going into a community college?
Well, I definitely knew I wanted to be a teacher. I've always wanted to be a teacher since I was little. And Nassau was just affordable, and it was the perfect location. It was the perfect starter, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the alum most people either knew they were coming here or they weren't 100% sure. And then when they did come here, they said, this was the best thing that I ever did. Mm-hmm. So tell us about some of the courses when you first began. What was that like on campus?
Well, it was definitely interesting because when I first started, it was during COVID, so it was mostly online. So I didn't really get to come to campus until almost my second year, the beginning of my second year.
Wow, yeah. So even remotely, how was that handled? What courses were the most interesting?
Yoga. I think that yoga was definitely the most interesting, having to do that over Zoom.
Yeah, that
was definitely fun.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting. And so that was one of your favorites. Did you have any academic courses that you had to take the first year?
My first year, I was in a remedial English course, and I found that to be very interesting because it wasn't the normal remedial courses you would take in high school. They were the teacher, I don't remember the professor's name, but she was very helpful, and I felt like I did definitely learn a lot from that class.
Yeah. And do you remember any of the professors that inspired you to, continue? Because especially during COVID, when everyone was sort of oh, I don't know if I want to continue. When they came onto those Zooms, did they say, don't quit? What were they telling you as students?
Yeah, they were just try your hardest. I don't remember most of the professors' names, but They were very helpful. Like, no matter, like, what was going on, if you reached out and you told them, I think I'm struggling in this, they were so happy to join a Zoom call or, office hours just to help you do better in the class or find different opportunities for you to do better.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, that's what I definitely got out of Nassau, was that all the professors wanted was for you to succeed.
Yeah, that is really important. Now, you knew that you sort of loved teaching from, even way back when you were younger, but how did you know, upon finishing this degree, that you would pursue education? What were you thinking?
I took a couple of education courses at Nassau, and I just loved talking about teaching. I just like the thought of having my own classroom and working with children just always makes me happy when I think about it.
Yeah. Now you're in the middle of completing. Well, we probably will be completing shortly. A lot of student observation hours, and now that you've been, in the field and in school campuses and seeing, what do you think the challenges are for an educator at this point?
I definitely think the challenges are classroom management.
Yes.
That is definitely one. I've even experienced it myself. I work at a daycare, and I have children they're called school-agers because they go to school, so it's for aftercare. And even with them, I find classroom management is definitely one of the hardest things that isn't really talked about in most classes.
Yeah. And what are some of the components of that? Do you think it's solely behavioral, or some kids just can't kind of get it together when they're in a social type of environment?
I think it's a mix of many things because even working at this daycare, every child is so different.
Yes.
But they're also very similar.
Right.
So it could be it's hard to tell. Sometimes it's definitely behavioral. It could even be undiagnosed, a disability. It could be anything. Maybe the kid is just tired one day.
Right. Yeah. Now, how do they separate the age groups? Do they have that separated, or they have students together? Oh, wow.
I have the ages 5 to 12.
Oh, so they're all together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, there's a difference, a 5-year-old and 12-year-olds now. Don't you find that they act like they're 35?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's
definitely.
It's very, so during all your observation hours that, you've completed and being in the classroom, what do you think the students really do need in the actual classroom day to day if they're in there for, 6 whole hours? What are you seeing that surprises you or that you think we need to work on?
Well, the teacher that I'm with right now is amazing. Her classroom management is great. The kids, you can tell, feel very supported.
Yes.
There's many, resources for the kids to use, and they also don't feel judged.
That's great.
In a way, you could tell it's a very safe environment.
Yes.
And that's, definitely a goal of mine. And the one thing I did notice, which I thought was pretty cool in this classroom, is that they always give the option of flexible seating. And I thought that was amazing. The kids love that. They love to work on the flexible seating, whether it's taking a quiz on the Chromebooks or even just doing independent work. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and I think that, I know we talk about, being flexible and being responsive as the teacher and also kind of seeing, wow, if they got up and moved a little bit, it changed the whole dynamic of the room.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And you notice some kids really can't sit for long periods of time. So it would sort of be less of a battle if we say, hey, you can go to the rug and, sit on the rug, or, we always buy those beanbag chairs or something cool so that they could sit on. How does she have the room set up? Is it sort of like that where they can actually get up and just move, right?
Yes, some of them have carpet spots. Yeah. And you can tell some kids, they need to sit on the carpet, and other kids are more, I like to sit at my desk and work. Yeah. And it just works great. She's able to teach without getting really interrupted. You can tell the kids are really they're ready to learn. They're excited to learn.
Great. Yeah.
It's definitely been a good experience.
You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Daniella Ferraro, class of 2022. So what are some of the strategies that you're using to kind of engage the students, like while you're in that room? And also, where you work as well. Like, what are some things that you think totally work?
So I've started recently, because I've had some behavioral issues where I work, I started a clip chart as like a behavioral chart, and the kids love it. Like, they get to a certain point on the chart, and if they stay at that point for like 2 days, then I have these coupons that they get to pick, and one of them is, like teacher help or a lollipop or a positive note home about how good they have been, and it's been working actually really well.
Yeah, that's good. And so that they kind of know about, character education as well, that they can, while they're working for it too, that intrinsically it's important to them. That's very sweet to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have worked in photography, and
yes.
How would you how would you be now using maybe photography to impact your work as a classroom teacher? Maybe you didn't get to do that yet, but is that something you were thinking about that would be part of your daily routine, and how would that work?
Yeah, I would love to put photography into my teaching. I love being like creative and artsy and making like the classroom look like decorated and nice and cute, especially including like, photos of the students all around the classroom or stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw there was an art teacher on TikTok, and she actually painted the classroom herself, and then she hung all these different murals and different maps and things. And then she also took sort of antique furniture, like a poker table was one with seats around it, and then these different kinds of dining room sets with its seats. And so she made this like really cool room, and they allowed her to do it. They let her do it. And, she said that she was able to get, so much more out of the students because she just approached it in like a totally different way than most teachers would. And because it was an art class, that it gave the kids a lot of flexibility to kind of like decorate and paint. So now, do you like digital photos or using the real camera with film?
I like both. I did film in high school, and that was really the only chance that I got to do that because I used a dark room.
Yeah.
I didn't do that at Nassau, but I did digital at Nassau, and I just love taking pictures and editing them. It's almost like therapy to me in a way. Like, it's so calming, and I love it.
And then are you able to convert that, into the computer and on the iPad and doing all that?
Yeah. I think at Nassau I used Lightroom or Photoshop, one of those.
Okay.
I was also in AP Photo in high school. So it was really nice to be able to take pictures again, and I really enjoyed that class.
Yeah, and then some of your photos were in the art show. So how did that come about?
Yes. We had to hand in photos for one of the projects. I forgot what it was. And my professor was looking at some of my photos, and she was like, wow, like, I really love these photos. She was like, would you be interested in putting your photos into this art show? And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was so honored. I was like, yes, I would love to do that. And it was really nice. Like, my family came to see the pictures too, and it was really great.
Yeah, and where did they did that on the campus here? Is that what they did?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so
yes,
it was like,
I don't remember where.
I think we do still have sort of like a campus art show every year. I'm pretty sure we do have that, and so that's great that it was able to be showcased, because sometimes you do the work and then nobody really gets to see it.
Yeah. It was really nice for that.
And then would you do that sort of as like a side job, like taking photos of, weddings or communions? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I would love to do stuff like that. I did Christmas cards for my aunt once.
Oh, that's
And I also did photos for my cousin's Sweet 16 once, and it was just fun. I love taking pictures.
Yeah. That's great. What kind of cameras do you use? Do you use the phone or you actually use a camera?
No, I have a Canon Rebel. I think it's like a Rebel T6 or something. It's like one of those big cameras.
Yeah, Canon makes the best.
Yeah.
I
And
had
then
a friend who
also,
worked there, and he was always like, Canon's the best. Canon's the best.
yeah, I really love that camera. It's great.
Yeah. Now, getting back to like the educational part of, your journey now. So,
Hmm.
we have to talk a lot about diversity and equity and inclusion within all these programs that we're working in.
Hmm.
What is your opinion about how we can be better at being inclusive with our populations that we're working with, and even talking about a 5-year-old who's sort of acts like they're 10, and then a 12-year-old who thinks they're 20. How do we make sure
Hmm.
that everybody feels sort of a part of these environments that we're creating for them, in order for them to learn, really to the best of their ability? What do you
Hmm.
feel about that, and how are you seeing it like kind of play out?
I feel like it's really, you just need to get to know the kid.
Yeah.
Find like their interests. Like if their interests are makeup, then, even if it's like a picture book about someone doing their makeup or their hair, like even that I feel like can make a huge difference. Or having them write about like the process of doing your makeup, because
Yeah.
that's really summarizing in a way
Yeah.
of what you're doing, and that can honestly lead to like finding the skills that you need to work on and the skills that the child is really good at, but they just aren't interested in what they're reading.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard to kind of have as much, I guess, the resources to make sure that they can have
Hmm.
as much
Yeah.
information or access to books. And, especially when they're really little, when they've been in school for a very long time, a lot of the kids have been maybe like 0 to 5 in a daycare, and then they go to kindergarten. And
Hmm.
then, once they're in kindergarten, the kindergarten work is so rigorous, and it can be a
Hmm.
lot all day long. How do you balance your work and play, and then all the schoolwork that you're doing too? What do you find, that helps you?
Well, right now I currently work only a couple hours, which is the aftercare hours. So this way, during the day, I can get my schoolwork done. So then the weekend, I have time for myself to hang out with my family and my boyfriend and my friends, just to relax in a way, to get ready for the following week.
Right. Yeah, that's good, because it's a lot, and you're doing so many
Yeah.
different things. Now, being in the schools right now, and you've done all these observation hours. How do you think it
Hmm.
helps you, moving forward into next semester when you're actually doing full-time student teaching? Do you feel prepared?
Yeah, I definitely do. I was very nervous at first to start observation, and then I started, and my teacher was like, "Oh, would you like to do a small group? Like teach a small group?" And I was like, "Sure." So I tried it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is like weird. Like I'm not nervous. Like I feel so confident. Like I can do this." I just felt so comfortable and like in my element almost.
Yeah, that's great that you know that, and like that you feel that.
Yeah.
So moving from Nassau, upon graduation from here, and then
Hmm.
going to SUNY Old Westbury, what was that transition like? A lot of times coming from a community college into the 4-year, it might
Hmm.
be, there might be some challenges. How did you feel about that? What was that like?
I really felt like the transition was pretty easy because I talked to like the advisors at Nassau, and I remember there was one person who was like in charge of graduation and like the transfer students, but they were very like informative. Like I would ask them certain questions and they'd be able to give me the answers, and they really helped me transition to Old Westbury. And there was also, I remember there was like an acceptance day for Old Westbury at Nassau once that I was able to attend to, and it was like, I think Old Westbury came to visit Nassau, but it was nice. I went and I got like a little goodie bag. It was fun.
Yeah, and then did you know, like from that point, you were going into childhood education? Were you sure of that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think I took a childhood education course. I think it was like math, foundations of math for childhood, and I liked it, and I really liked the professor too.
Yeah, that's great. You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Daniella Ferraro, class of 2022. So now, having had these experiences as the student observer and now moving to become the student teacher, what do you think you'll bring with you moving into that semester? What are some things that you think will definitely work, and then some things that you thought might work but now you know they won't?
That's a great question. I feel like I am definitely prepared for student teaching. Just being in the environment itself has, like, you'll learn, like, certain things, like, just watching, like, the children is just a learning process in itself, how different they are, and, like, how every child has different needs and how you do have to cater to those needs.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, I feel like it's definitely going to be a challenge, student teaching, but it's like a good challenge. Like, I'm ready for it.
Right. Yeah, I remember going from just observing, but then going into the 15 weeks and, you're really part of the classroom and you become, a, like a fixture there. And then the students kind of rely on you because they're excited that you're there as well. And so moving forward with that, a lot of the lesson planning that we've been talking about and preparing for that, do you feel confident in some of the lessons that you've done and what, things that you can modify? Were you able to kind of reflect on that a little bit too?
Yes, I definitely think for lesson plans, I am prepared on that part, and writing lesson plans and then doing the lesson itself. I do think that Old Westbury has prepared me for that.
Yeah, because it was a big thing way back when about, integrating the 4 subjects, the ELA, math, social studies, and science. And, once you kind of understand that and you grasp it, there's so much you could do. You could take the book and then you could have ELA and put in your math, put in your social studies, put in your science. And once you kind of get into that rhythm, that's when, the best lessons really come about.
Yes, and definitely seeing it with observation has helped too.
Yeah, and seeing, when you're watching the teacher, do you sort of, like, in your mind critique, I wonder if I would do it that way? Or are you kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, I do. And I do have to say, I do love this teacher that I'm with because I definitely have learned a lot.
Yeah, that's great. It's great when they kind of are endearing to you as a new person instead of being like, oh, why do you want to do this? Or, kind of making you feel bad about it, because that's important that you feel confident.
Yes, this teacher has definitely been very, like, hands-on, like, oh, you want to do these small groups? Like, we can do small groups together. And I told her, I was like, I will do whatever you want me to do. This is my learning experience. Like, if you're willing to let me do it, then I will do it.
Yeah, that's great. So now, what is something that you hope to study in the future? Because once you have the childhood degree, I mean, we've always talked about, teachers, a teaching degree could really do anything. So moving forward, what else are you interested in studying?
I'm not 100% sure yet. I still have to do some research in that, but I was thinking maybe literacy, like remedial reading and stuff like that, because when I was in elementary school, I was one of those students in the remedial courses. Yeah. And I feel like that's also where you can make a difference for the children who are struggling.
Yeah. And then even moving back to photography, would you consider, art or photography could also be, something you could add that in?
I was considering that, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like so many things that you really can do that lend itself to being the classroom teacher, like the more well-rounded. It's really interesting. You'll see as time goes on that you bring in all of those talents that you have. So what advice would you give to an incoming student at Nassau Community College?
I would tell them that they're going to have a great time at Nassau, and if you're going to make it like your own journey in a way. Like, you are going to have professors that really do care about you and want you to succeed, and that if you have any questions, like, don't feel embarrassed to ask in a way. Because I feel like a lot of times people, if they are stuck on something, they won't ask. But every time I did that, all the professors always gave me different study tips, or even come to my office hours. We can discuss it, go over it in more in depth. They were very, They're very helpful when it came to that, because they want you to succeed.
That's great. So, and what did you learn about yourself as a student upon graduation from Nassau? You know, you completed that whole first leg of the study, and then you're moving to a 4-year. What did you feel upon graduation, leaving here?
I was sad to leave Nassau. I really loved Nassau, but I was also ready to experience, something else and move on to get my degree.
And you had like a level of confidence, like you felt that you were prepared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nassau definitely did prepare me. I did feel prepared.
I would like to thank our guest, Daniella Ferraro, class of 2022. How can our listeners contact you?
They could contact me by email.
Okay.
My email is Bella, Bella, Ferraro, Ferraro, 123 @outlook.com.
Great. Thanks so much for being a guest today. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I serve as a director on the board of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association, and I'm a proud alum. Lion Tales is available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. More information online at nccradio.org. Thanks for listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.